Welcome back to another edition of Toys I Did Not Own as a Kid. Right, gang, tonight we are talking Gobots again. We are talking specifically about this guy right here. His name is Tux. Gobots, for those of you who don't know, was a toy line released under that name here in the United States in 1984. And originally it was a toy line from Japan, made by a little company known as Popey, which was a subsidiary of the Bandai company. And they were released as the line called Machine Robo. And so this is MR46 in Japan. He was called Limousine Robo. He was part of, I believe, the second wave of the toys. Again, they were a transforming toy line that was designed to be able to put next to a Matchbox car, specifically a Matchbox car, but I have a couple of Hot Wheels right here. And you can put them be next to those as well, and as you can see, it just looks like a regular little car. So that's the cool thing about Gobots. One of the cool things about Gobots, in my opinion. Anyway, as I was saying, he was released under the Machine Robo line, under the name Limousine Robo. This was from 1984, second wave. He was part of the 600 line, which means that you spent 600 yen and you got yourself one of these babies. As a Gobot, he was called Tux, and specifically, he is a limousine, but he specifically is a Rolls-Royce Phantom 6. He was a renegade, meaning he was one of the bad guys in the show, and I do not know who voiced him. I could not find it. The internet actually has him on a list of characters with unknown voices. So we don't know who voiced him. So let's get him transformed so you can see why we call him Tux. And like I said, he was a renegade. He was featured in several episodes of the Challenge of the Gobots cartoon, a cartoon which was made by Hanna-Barbera, which at the time was, next to Disney, the biggest animation studio in the world. And trying to get his legs there. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. He does seem to need to spin. There we go. Yes. So this is very much like Jeeper Creeper, where you have to do these little spins to get his legs in the proper section. But I don't want to break anything. His legs are made of plastic, and this is from 1984, so this thing is over 40 years old now. So let me get him right. I have transformed him before. There he goes. All right. It's very scary to transform these guys because sometimes you don't know the transformation sequence. They are very simple, but sometimes since you don't know it, you don't know what you need to spin. And it ends up being a little scary. Like, for example, these arms go up and they're giving me a little bit of resistance. Probably because his head needs to go up as well. But it's not happening. There we go. So the head actually goes up as you push the arms up. So let's do that again so you can see it on camera. Kind of a cool little feature. There he is. And that's it. That's his transformation. Very funny that they placed his thumbs in that way so that you can actually put his hands on his sides, and then the bumper doesn't get in the way there. So there he is. Very fancy looking guy. And as you can see, the paint on his blue eyes is a little bit faded. But it's a Gobot with a top hat. And it's an evil Gobot with a top hat at that. So again, as I was saying, Challenge of the Gobots was the cartoon that was a 30-minute commercial known as the series that was made for these guys. It actually came out here in the States a few months before the Transformers did, and the Gobots were selling out. Before the Transformers were on the shelves, the Gobots were actually selling out of stores. The first wave sold out, so much so that the stores ordered way more in advance, way more Gobots in advance. And for the first 6 months, the Gobots and the Transformers were neck to neck. Neck and neck is actually the term, as far as like sales were concerned. But after those first 6 months, once we had the Transformers series, Transformers pretty much blew them out of the water. I've always contended that the reason why is because the GoBots just did not look as good as far as the cartoon was concerned, did not look as good as the Transformers did. The animation wasn't great, and they actually did not redesign the characters at all. They pretty much made them look as much as possible as the toys did. So they looked exactly like the toys did. So much so that they did not give them any weapons in the cartoon, because most of these did not come with weapons. So they would just fire blasts, energy blasts from their hands. And again, for the most part, some of them did have weapons, but the ones that didn't, they would just fire the energy blast from their hands. Also, another difference when it came to the Transformers is that the GoBots are actually cyborgs. So there's a living being inside. In fact, they're called Go beings that are inside these bodies. And the story goes that there was some kind of a worldwide catastrophe that wasn't going to allow the Go beings to live in their current state, or in their original form, so they all went ahead and transferred their brains and I don't know what other parts of their bodies into these machines. That is part of the storyline. Pretty cool. Now, as a grown-up, I contend that the show is actually better than the original Transformers show. Again, not the animation and not the character design, but they definitely had, as far as the character, the way that the characters were written, and the way that the storyline went, the GoBots cartoon was actually better than the Transformers cartoon. They had a way more diverse cast, including more women, and their storyline was actually more concise. It was a straight going storyline. It was an ongoing storyline, as opposed to a Monster of the Week like the Transformers Generation 1 was. In fact, they did a lot less retconning when it came to the GoBots than they did in the Transformers. So, for example, in the Transformers, the original cartoon, the original episodes, the Autobots could fly, and then all of a sudden they didn't. So, but the GoBots, all of them flew. But anyway, the video is getting long. I'm starting to babble, and I've already shown you the both versions of the toy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as usual, hit a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you like the content. Thanks for watching, gang.